It has never been more Jover than it is now. And I really thought we could be Barack. All the polls said, yes, we can'la. Turned out it was all just a big dump. I came up with that on the spot. Yeah, like,
I was going to ask, is that what you wrote down and you were just reading off of that?
No, I was actually making bullet points for the stuff I wanted to talk about for the podcast before I forgot. There's nothing else to talk about, at least for me right now. I've been disassociating all day. My eyes and my corneal erosion have been stressing me out a little bit. Like, they've been flaring up purely from the stress. I didn't even go to my girlfriend's place tonight like we originally planned to help her clean just because I was too depressed to even leave. It's my podcast. I'll make my political views abundantly clear, as will my co-host here in a minute once we get talking about this. What else is there to talk about? Donald Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States. He came back again. And what a lot of people are calling one of the most historic comebacks in the history of politics. And as somebody who very much does not like Donald Trump, I have to agree with that, because it just seemed like this caught me off guard. It caught a lot of people off guard.
Yeah. I think it caught everyone off guard, like, last night, because I think they finished tallying it all up, like, last night, and I was already in bed by that point, but I did check in the morning. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that was also me in the morning when I checked. Me too. I literally just woke up and, like, kind of was like, all right, who won? Because, like, it's not like, I was up last night hearing, like, people from, like, my next door neighbor or anyone, like, going, like, yeah, no, like, from across the wall. So, like, I checked, and, if you want, you could put up those, poll results. Yeah, damn.
Yeah, and this was the thing that is the biggest shock to me, and I'm not going to get conspiratorial with it, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know about that kind of stuff, but, like, the numbers themselves are also kind of crazy, and I'll correlate the numbers into one of the things I've been reflecting about ever since I woke up to the news this morning. We're recording it on the morning of Wednesday, after the election night, where it's been revealed who won. It shocked me, really, because, like, Trump won almost every swing state. He either won or, like, made the state pink, I guess, where, like, it's that little mix between blue and red.
Yeah.
He won Pennsylvania, which is why he won the election. Like, you win PA, you just win. It's the same thing that happened to Biden last time.
What was your little rhyme about PA?
If you win PA, your campaign gonna be A-okay. I fucked it up. Whatever, you know what I mean. If you win PA, your campaign gonna be A-okay.
Yeah, let me see that actually.
Yeah. Also made that up on the spot. Apparently, when I get depressed, I get very good at improv. Whatever. Yeah. Donald Trump not only won the Electoral College, which is how you win the election, he won the popular vote this time, which not only is something that Donald Trump has never done, it is not something any Republican has done in, like, the last, 40 years? Or some shit? Or ever since Reagan, or after Reagan, I should say, a Republican has never won the popular vote, and that was also the crazy thing. He lost the popular vote by, like, 4 million votes, and that was what I didn't understand. I mean, Kamala's campaign, like, ramped up, like, so much money so fast. People were so psyched on her. You looked at the crowd sizes at their rallies, and people were actually at hers as opposed to that. But it just goes to show that my man Dennis here might just be right in that none of that matters. It doesn't matter, like, what the media is showing you necessarily. The polls obviously do not matter. I was never called by anybody. Polls never mean shit. The polls all came through for Hillary in 2016, and obviously she lost. What matters is just the turnout, which is something else I was optimistic about for Kamala Harris, because I went there, and, like, in my neck of the woods, even at my tiny little polling place that I go to, the line was huge. There were 80 million votes casted, like, by, like, mail-in ballot before even, like, election day started. And the Democrats are usually the one who voted by the mail-in ballots. That's how Biden, got his shtick and how he won in 2020. So I was also very optimistic for Kamala. I casted my vote. I left. I didn't feel any different. I'm like, okay, election day, whatever. I don't feel apocalyptic or doomer about it like so many people do. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to go about my thing. But I was just so surprised. Really. And I will say this as well, like, I don't fucking... Fuck.
Say.
It's also worth... No, I want to say something else first.
Okay.
It's also worth noting that I do believe, and I tried to find the exact numbers before, but I couldn't find the same Google census that was filled out, that, Google does, the one that you were looking at on Google for the election, for Biden versus Trump. Because Biden versus Trump actually had the highest voter turnout ever in the history of the country. Literally ever. More people voted in that election than any American election beforehand. As opposed to the prior election with Hillary versus Trump, where I believe it was among the least amount. And the least amount is when Trump won, most was when Biden did. So when 80 million people voted already, I was pretty confident for Kamala. But then I found out later on that I think it was a solid, and don't quote me on this, I could be directly wrong about this, 17 million less people voted in this election than the prior one? Which would explain a lot, I suppose. And
I mean, if we're going off of Wikipedia now too, like,
please,
as far as turnout, again, we all know the validity of Wikipedia is is sometimes suspect, but 158,481,688 people turned out for the 2020 election, and
how many was it?
158,481,688.
Yeesh, that's so much more that voted in this one.
Yeah, that's about half of the country, roughly.
I was gonna say, my whole shtick about this was that less than half the country voted in this one, which is usually how it goes. I mean, more people vote in American Idol than the fucking election. That was actually a true factoid for a while. I don't know if it's still true. Wouldn't surprise me if it was.
It
might still be. But yeah, COVID really did that in among with everything else that was going on, that they just came through for Biden. And now I've discovered that might not be the case for two reasons, Dennis. The first in which, I guess we could start with the funny one. You want to know what the number one most Google search thing was last night when election day was happening?
Ex-candidate won?
Nope.
What?
It was, did Joe Biden drop out? Those searches spiked on election night, which suggests that many Americans had no idea that he wasn't in the running anymore. Which puts some things into perspective for you, really, and it goes along with my next point. That, I mean, it's crazy that so many people, like, that spike began around 6 a.m. on election day and continued to rise because apparently, I guess people went to the polling booths or people just, like, decided to Google it last minute because some people were like, oh, voting. That's what I was supposed to do today.
Oh, that's why I have that day off today.
Oh, that's what I was supposed to do. What time is it? 9 p.m.? Like, the polls closed already. You can't fucking go in.
They either closed or like, hey, you decided to go at 8, but the line's fucking huge, so you're just like, nah, fuck that, and then just go home and decide to have a platter.
Yeah. And that query for results went back as far as October 6th, showing that phrase was searched little to no times until the days leading up to the election. People were online reacted. They're like, yo, I hate it here. And it made me realize something that this guy tweeted here, which is something I realized before I even saw this tweet. And that is that those of us that are terminally online forget just how many Americans, and I think this is why Trump actually won, just how many Americans pay zero attention to this.
Mm-hmm.
They don't read news. They don't come home from work. They just come home from work. They eat dinner, watch The fucking Bachelor. They scroll through TikTok.
Or be on TikTok for 4
that's what I was gonna say. Beat me to it. That's what I was going to fucking say. And then they just go to bed. And that is exemplified by the fact that way less than half of this country voted in this particular election. This time around, it was like... Well, how many was it? It was like 72 million for Trump, 71 million for Trump as opposed to 67 for Harris. So that's what, like 130 mil?
Yeah, roughly, yeah. It's about the same as 2016's numbers. At least according to Wikipedia.
It's literally 2016 all over again. It's the exact same fucking thing. They did the same thing where, like, he's a fascist, blah, 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 towards the end. They didn't actually cater to their base with what they wanted as far as the war in Gaza and, like, several other things and, like, criminalization and whatnot. They just did the same thing. They put a woman up and like...
And they fumbled it again.
And they fucking fumbled. They failed so hard. We can get more on that in a bit. But that's what I realized, because Dennis here is a pretty stern centrist. He doesn't typically vote in these things. I found out my girlfriend also did not vote because she couldn't side with either of these people. Some dude at the Best Buy that I was visiting for work the other day, one of the guys, the blue shirts that work there, I had my I voted sticker on. He asked me who I voted for. This guy's a total stranger. I'm not going to get into a potentially heated debate. I don't know this guy. He could freak out when I tell him who I voted for. So naturally, I told him I voted for Harambe. And I asked him who he voted for, and he said, no one. They're both liars. And I realized after I saw the numbers the next day, holy shit. Most Americans are not pro-fascist people or people who just hate minority groups so much to the point where they vote for Donald Trump. Most of them aren't like stern Democrats or hardcore leftist people who just want free weed and free healthcare and blah, 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 this and that, or the terminally online people that you see freak out about every little thing when it comes to politics. Most of them are that guy. Just struggling to make ends meet day after day, going into their job, not giving a fuck about any of this. And that is exemplified, again, by the actual data that more than half of the fucking country did not vote in this one, which is why Trump won again. It's a pretty scientific fact that every time he wins,
that 20 million
low voter turnout, and
that 20 million difference from 2016 to 2020 is a big one. And I don't think we have to really be like analysts over here to kind of even just like even come to that conclusion personally, because because I think this is gonna just be the cycle from this point on. Because this is essentially what Trump's last term, like this up and coming one at least, like we won't be having. So. I mean, who knows? Maybe there is a chance, obviously, with the hold that he has in the Supreme Court and stuff, like, he could maybe like bribe his dudes like over there and just say like, hey,
I was gonna get on that later.
Yeah, it's like, hey, by the way, I kind of want to be president again. Can you like, change some things up, do some edits on that Constitution?
FDR the shit out of me real quick.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows that at least in FDR's case was an extraordinary one for sure. Like, even just going back to like that bit of history for a little bit, like
that was very different.
Wartime president, for arguably the biggest conflict in human history up to that point. If even not like to this day, still one of like the greatest conflicts that we've ever seen.
World War II definitely was to this day the biggest conflict the world has ever seen. 60 million people died because of it.
And that's not even just related to like wartime related, like I guess it wasn't just due to like guns and tanks. Like literally, like there was like famines, even like wholesale slaughters as well. Like like rape of Nanking, like which we all know of. But again,
genocides and
exactly
all that shit. But
and we don't say that stuff lightly either. We're just saying though, like as far as like World War II went, like it was like there was many different reasons as to why that war had the amount of casualties that it did. And especially even in Russia's case, they bear 1/3 of that 60 million, which was they lost 20 million people like during the Eastern Front. So like, as far as like going back to FDR again, like again, his circumstances were like, as far as even any president, even compared to Lincoln, like extraordinary by every way imaginable. And it one would even argue like if let's say during such a critical time, like when America was fighting in that war, like sending their soldiers like thing over to Europe and even in Asia to fight the Japanese and the Germans, if we had an election that basically like toppled I can't really say 100% like how great FDR's leadership was during that war, because I know it was his idea and a bunch of others, like with the Lend-Lease Act and stuff. So that was like obviously a great way to get involved without really getting involved. Considering like it was just like, hey, we're not in the war, we're just giving certain sides a lot of fucking trucks and guns and bullets and bandages and whatever the fuck else like that that they're kind of in dire straits for. And it's and like now going back, like if there is a lot of things, like one could argue, like Trump has kind of shifted, has been very good at shifting things around in the Supreme Court, as well as also like kind of obviously stacking the courts to the point where like he's gotten Roe versus Wade like thing overturned, and like and God knows like what else may be next as far as like those may be concerned. So there is obviously I get yours and also like other people's fears on that, because like he's done it before. So that's why, like, at the very least, like, it kind of just shows that, like, and I don't even think, like, that Supreme Court has really changed all that much either. So it's, like, still the same guys he worked with from 4 years ago.
It's going to change this time, because Clarence Thomas is definitely going to retire, because now he can. He can now, and, like, then that seat's, boom, he's going to fill it with, like, maybe some Project 2025 dude, some, whatever that trust fund or whatever it is that funds that shit, probably. It's... Beyond just being concerned about the rights of my friends, because if I'm keeping it a stack, I think they're coming for gay marriage. I think it's inevitable that they're going to come for that shit and try to fucking overturn it, like, knowing this fucking court. But my biggest concern about this is, as Dennis went on his little historical spiel there about FDR's third term, I really, in my heart of hearts, believe he's going to try to expand his term.
He's going to try. Definitely, for sure.
I really think he's going to try, and I don't think there's much stopping him. Like anything, really, unless like the fucking midterms blow out. I mean, there was a huge, I remember the blue wave that happened in the middle of his presidency because people were like, yo, fuck this guy, and then like we elected a bunch of people to the Senate and the fucking House. But that's my only real biggest concern. Because things that happen with abortion or gay rights or whatever, someone else comes in, Supreme Court can eventually change, those can be changed or overturned. There's a system of checks and balances in this country that these fucks don't care about for a reason. My only thing, or I guess the biggest thing that I'm concerned about, is Trump stacked the Supreme Court. We all know this. He appointed like 4 judges to that shit. That's the most that any president, I think, ever has.
All his cronies. His cronies.
Yep. And it should have only been 3 because they blocked Obama from filling the seat out towards the end of his presidency. Because they were like, well, he's on his way out, so we're not going to let him do it. They were just waiting for Trump to win. And, because, of course, they were allowed to do that. And one of the changes they made was giving the president absolute power under the gauze of official acts. Essentially giving them the power of a king. Like, that means he can, like, apparently what it means, and I don't know if Sotomayor was, like, exaggerating when she said this, apparently it means they can, like, even, like, sick the National Guard or military on, like, their political opponents or people, and if it's classified as a presidential act, which I think is determined by the court, that means that he's not liable for it. Beyond the fact that this asshole is also going to pardon himself, like, of all this shit, which is the whole reason he's even fucking running in the first place, is so he doesn't go to prison.
These are different from executive orders, too, then, right?
I think... I don't fucking... I think
it's like, it's a big difference.
Because he already signed a bunch of executive orders. Ever since... The presidents have been doing that for years. They've been, like, flipping the executive orders back and forth. Obama undid everything Bush did, then Trump undid everything Obama did, and then Biden undid everything fucking Trump did. It's like... It's just how it's been going for the last couple of years. It swaps from Democrat to Republican. That's the balance that happens every time, because everybody blames all their problems on the president. But Trump... With that whole king thing in mind, Trump has expressed countless times over the years his fondness for dictators. He worships Kim Jong-un and Putin. He very recently praised Hitler right before he got elected, saying Hitler did some good things or whatever, some shit. And knowing how deeply narcissistic, egotistical, and fucked in the head this guy is, it's not even just a matter of I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be willing to bet, considering that the Republicans now control every branch of the government now. And like they got the Senate in this fucking election. They obviously have already had the Supreme Court. They have the executive branch now. I don't know about the House. Probably the House. Who knows? That within the next couple of years, I'm telling you right the fuck now, he is going to try to expand term limits under the guise of like, oh, we need to do this for some stupid bullshit reason. And I don't think that, no, trust me, I know that's not a decision that is going to go lightly. Like that's the kind where like the protests in the streets would be fucking palpable.
But that's also why that, going off of what you just said there, that the resistance to it like thing would be huge.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's going to happen.
No. But that's what I'm saying. Like if the event, like in the event that we both know that like this guy is gonna try, because like he's that kind of dude who like like I'm not even just talking about this like from a historical standpoint. He really is that kind of guy who's just like, well, you don't know if we don't try, so he's just gonna probably fucking try and like, see if he could get away with it. Just like a lot of the other things that like a lot of leaders do just by habit. Like they, not even just talking about dictators, not even talking about like just regular democratically elected officials or leaders, like in general, like in history. They always like, kind of just see like, oh, like, because the American public is, for one, it's a hornet's nest that you'd really don't want to fuck with. And, we've already seen historically the sort of almost righteous reactions that like the American public have done over the last, like, let's say 20 years based on like several different injustices that one can even think of. And, it's just like one of those things where it's like, I don't even think you need to be a historian to even kind of feel this, that like, for one, again, I reiterate, for sure, he's going to try something. For sure, he's going to try to put an idea forward and tell all his cronies in the fucking Senate and the House that, hey, BT dubs, I kind of want to, be president a little longer. So, maybe try to put it forward. And, obviously, they're going to say yes because he's signing their fucking paychecks. And so, in the event that does happen, I have a very strong feeling that I think it's just also by the laws of probability. I really feel that there's even going to be, I mark my words almost, I guarantee there will even be plenty of guys in his camp. There's even plenty of guys in his camp that don't like him by default already. There's a lot of... It's a lot of...
Most people who have worked with him, the pipeline from working with Trump to autobiography is so real. Mm-hmm. The amount of people who've written a book about fucking working with this guy.
Right. And, that's, I did not know how bad it was, but, okay, if we're going off of that, then already there's fucking hundreds of Republicans that probably just do not like this guy. And they've grown to hate him over the last, 8 years now?
That's the crazy part of how he won. He had bipartisan support against him, too. Mm-hmm. And 2 assassination attempt. What the fuck,
that's
man?
the thing. That's the thing. And here's another part that I'm going to get to as well. Because I think...
How did this happen?
Wait, listen. That is the first step, right? It's like we ask, how the fuck does this happen? Because, for one, this guy's star is huge. I think objectively, I think that near shot to the head of his, who really just gave him a plus 30 in charisma. I don't know what the fuck it was, but truthfully, I almost feel if he didn't have an almost Kennedy experience, and just got offed. Not wishing upon him, but thing, if let's say that assassination did happen differently, and if he did obviously, of course, get assassinated, obviously, yeah, just the effect is that we don't get Trump, and we get whatever fucking other douchebag that the Republicans want to put up, and it's pretty late into the race too, so that's even worse for them. Chances are, maybe Kamala probably could have won, perhaps, can't say for sure, but definitely that result obviously would have been different. But what happened instead? He nearly got shot, and at the same time, there were even people in the middle that were going, whoa, they were not whoa, but at the same time, they were it's seeing a guy like that, and obviously for what we know of him as, he's obviously a douchebag, but at the same time, it's when people see someone go through a near-death experience like that, there is this sort of almost admiration that starts to bubble up. And in his case, it not only won him more supporters that were already on his side, but they were on the fence, but now he brought those people in and then some afterwards. And into Kamala's case now, and going to the Democrats and that whole camp, for one, hold on, because I know what you're going to say, but this is me going off of just being fairly apolitical, but at the same time, I'm just going to basically say what I observe. For one, that decision to put her in the race was a good idea. I don't care what the fuck anyone says. It was a good idea, in my opinion. But
yeah,
y'all
anybody
decided
who's saying it was a bad idea now are just coping.
Yeah, because for one, it was a little too late. Like maybe not a little too late, but you talking to like at least the Democrats.
They asked her to make like a successful campaign and rally all of that hype and like interest and votes up in 100 days over a guy with literally the most established base that he's had for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why. Like for one, that showing is terrible for sure. That turnout was terrible. It was 20 million less than what we had from 4 years ago. So but by numbers alone. It's a very bad, just not like the worst turnout or anything, but it's like, there should have been.
Was it less than 2016?
You said what for this year's?
Was this year less than 2016? Because
yeah, well, like
it was less than
what number did you say for what number did you say for this year?
Like 71 million people voted for Trump, and I think it was 67 for Harris. So it was like
it's like 1 million more or so than like 2016. Okay. It's about the same. It's literally about the same. Like
literally the same, man.
And that's why I'm saying like that turnout, and it was for sure an underdog fight. I even said like people were already like going off and saying like, oh yeah, Harris is gonna win for sure, and I'm just kind of like, is she though? Like, how certain can you possibly be on that? Because this is the exact same narrative that everyone said for 2016. It was the exact same fucking narrative. The exact fucking same. And look what the fuck happened. I mean, mind you, again, Kamala definitely, like, as far as a personality goes, was obviously way, way better than Hillary. Just, she knew how to talk. She knew how to work the camera. But, again, she started that race pretty late compared to the guy she was already going up against. And that guy alone, and David said it before, had a base that he built up for 8 years. I don't even care what your politics are. That is huge. That is huge when it comes to elections. Having a base and foundation that fucking strong, 8 years strong, these guys still think, even though as far as the turnouts go for 2020, and again, 158,481,000, 20 million more than essentially 2016's, and that was just full of people that wanted this guy out. They wanted him the fuck out. People literally were wiping off the Cheeto dust off their fucking shirts to finally go to that ballot or whatever, that early ballot that they received in the mail, and finally just to said we gotta do something, and they did. Again, where were those same people this time around? Probably still scraping the Cheeto dust off their titties. But my whole point is that my whole point is that this shit's really cyclical, because again, no need to even be a political science major in this regard. People literally were singing the same tune as from 8 years ago. It was the exact same fucking thing. And
so much so to the point where I have deja vu. Mm-hmm. I'm not even kidding. I've been a little existentially fucked up. I looked outside my window and I had a dementia moment. Or where I thought that was the year it was, because where he lost to a woman, they implemented the same strategy where they learned nothing. And my aunt and uncle are visiting right now. Mm-hmm. And that same aunt and uncle visited us during the election week in 2016 where Trump won. Mm-hmm. So apparently every time my aunt comes to visit, they put the orange guy in the office. So she's visiting around the exact same time too, around the exact same situation where the same guy wins over a woman again by almost the same fucking voter turnout and margins. And it's I'm existentially fucked up over that. Mm-hmm. Truly, it makes me feel like nothing has changed at all. But to your credit, Dennis, before you even continue speaking, you're a historian. Mm-hmm. Your viewpoints are to me they're more valuable than a political science major, if I'm keeping it a buck, because a lot of people go into political science because they're already knee deep into their fucking identity politics on whichever side of the aisle that they're on, and they just want to be able to debate people and prove their shitty little viewpoints to other people. and like Shapiro the fuck out of people. You, on the other hand, you just go by hard fucking facts. And political science majors can do, but not all of them do. Some of them are real biased, and that's why they get into that kind of shit. But you go off of the past because you know that the more we know about the past, the better prepared we are for the future. And you know that being the apolitical, apathetic-ass, historian-ass motherfucker that you are, you're a person that I'm glad to call my best friend. Because these things don't usually instill the same fear in you that a guy who grew up in an identity politics household, does. My parents are very staunchly liberal and or democratic, I suppose. And you just go by, like...
It's a mix of fact and feeling, because... You do,
yeah, but, like...
Because politics really is, like... It's a lot of feeling, like, people give it credit for, truthfully. Because, obviously, you should know your facts for sure. And, like, obviously, everything that I've been saying isn't... I'm not going to say it's 110% factual. Of course not. I'm not no Ben Shapiro. I don't put my ears to my monitor, like, listening to all of this, like, every day. It's... The funny thing is with it is that, like, even... Well, yeah. Well, my whole point is that, like, as I know what you mean. I know what you mean. As far as all this goes, right? Like, and, if you were one of those people that literally, like, just completely, like, disassociated, like, think from all of this for the last, like, 2 weeks, like, kudos to you, really. Like, some people just can't help but fucking put their ears to the ground and, like, kind of just really be tuned into all of this, like, and if you are, then, like, and if you have a genuine interest in it, like, that's more power to you. I'm just saying, though, like, as in regards to all of this, like, and going back to feeling real quick when it comes to politics, like, I think, I don't think, like, people discount it, but I think people obviously don't really, like, think about it too much when they think of politics, because, like, when they think of politics as, like, kind of like a thing you guys talk about amongst each other, they bring up a lot of, like, obviously geopolitical stuff, a lot of internal national issues that, like, they're gonna be bringing up immigration here and there, and of course, like, it's just, like, a lot of stuff that, like, people just either regurgitate from whatever, like, news station that they heard it from, or, like, it's just, like, maybe something that they truly feel strongly about. The whole thing with Israel and Gaza, like, I'm pretty sure, like, there's fucking hundreds of thousands, if not hundreds of millions of people, like, that probably have, like, pretty strong opinions on it. So, again, like, that's why I'm saying, though, like, as far as, like, feeling goes, it's that apathy and that almost borderline arrogance from 2016 speaks fucking volumes, considering, like, it's, again, me and David, we both said the exact same fucking thing happened from 8 years ago. The exact same fucking thing happened. And, even, like, we also had a couple presidents who we liked, that we honestly thought, like, oh, okay, like, there was a lot of things that, like, as far as politically wise, and even maybe perhaps just support wise, like, that we thought, okay, yeah, like, this guy's gonna be a sure in to win. One of them being Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy Roosevelt, like, obviously, like, he was president, within the Republican Party, like, think for a good long while. And, obviously, this is the different Republican Party than obviously what we know of it as today, before that little whole, like, flip that they had between, like, them and the Democrats. And, during that time, obviously, like, Teddy Roosevelt was immensely popular. He was loved by many, hated by few, believe it or not. And obviously the only ones who truly did hate him were, like, those, trusts and the big businesses and such. So, yeah.
He also got the got shot bonus.
Yeah, exactly. And he also got the got shot bonus, the plus 30 charisma that he got.
And his was way more badass.
Oh, yeah, obviously. He got shot in the fucking, like, I think, it was on the heart, right? Like, the bullet was almost literally 2 inches away from his heart or something, but his speech, like, basically stopped it. Therefore, like, just star power right there.
And then finished the speech.
Yeah, and then finished the speech. So, but, like, we also, like, I don't know exactly, I'd actually kind of would like to look into that. Like, because everyone thought, like, okay, when he made his own party, like, that honestly, truthfully, just kind of goes to show you, like, how monolithic the two-party system is in this country. And if you try to, like, even do your own thing and not be a part of that system, you not only lose out on tons of support, but at the same time, you lose out on that entire, like, the benefits that candidates get for being a part of that system from either camp, really. Like, just the money and resources that they all have is fucking insane. And, like, you know, in Teddy Roosevelt's case, he really thought, like, because his whole party, the Bull Moose Party, was, you know, a, lack of a better term, was a grassroots kind of, like, thing, a political party. Like, the guy just literally, like, you know, with his own wealth, started up his own fucking political party. And, like, you know, it did gather support, but, again, he still lost that a fat fuck Taft. So it's like, you know, it, like, and that was basically, like, just it's just like another past example of how, like, you really have to learn and know how to succeed in that two-party system. And it's the reason why that now, maybe down the line, like, you know, obviously, you know, Hillary thought she was going to be the first woman president. She didn't. Kamala, I don't even think she really cared about, like, being the first woman president, truthfully. I truly feel that, like, she got given a job and said, you know, you have until election day to kind of see, like, hey, if we're gonna, you know, keep you on, or at the same time, like, you know, just
she cared way more about beating this guy.
Yeah,
like, you are just a more realistic option to make sure we beat this guy, rather than, like, oh, first woman president, yay. Like, that
but
was
the
just
thing
like
was,
icing on the cake.
She was not Joe. That's the thing, though, too, because, like, you know, even though, like, obviously, like, we call Joe for what he is, you know, just a sleepy old grandpa, and, like, you know, just, there's a lot of things, obviously, like, you know, we know and say about him, but the thing is that, you know, I personally do feel that, I think America is, I think they are ready for a female president. I think they've been ready. No, I do. I think they've been ready for a while, but I think,
please tell me why.
The reason why I'm saying that is also just because, for one, and for what Trump represents as well. For one, again, his, you know, if all goes well within these next 4 years, praying here, like, you know, and he just finishes his term, and then that's it. Like, he can't be president no more anymore. If he does that, then, you know, obviously, of course, like, you know, a new guy has to step in. And in the Republicans' case, it depends on how well, like, how well, but I guess, like, how those 4 years go, truthfully, like, for him, for this next term. Depending on how it goes, you may see a shift within the Republicans, I feel, where they don't want another version of this guy again. And and if he even tries to put forward a successor at all, I don't think that they're gonna even want that fucker, like, at all.
Oh,
like,
you mean
anyone,
Dickhead Jr.?
I think my son will be great as president. It's like, son has, like, no idea why he's there.
Fucking cokehead, just, like, snorting lines off, like, the fucking, like, the podium. Yeah.
So, but that's why I think,
yeah, there's bipartisan support against him, which made us surprised as to why he wins. But if you think that shift is going to continue to go away, rather than them bending the knee like they kept doing, they could have impeached his ass. But McConnell, like, in, you know, like, a lot of Republicans got scared of him, and they didn't give him the votes for it. And they literally could have gotten rid of him. They could have been free to make the Republican Party what it used to be before this guy came in and destroyed it. And they still just fucking took their pants off, bent down in front of him, and just let him, like, fucking do whatever.
And well, that is true. And they also, I have a feeling that they even thought that, like, you know, I bet a lot of them even thought, like, Harris was going to win. I think a lot of them
supported Harris.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
fucking, like,
but that's why I'm saying, like, you know, they honestly were probably watching on their couch, like, watching TV, watching the news, and just was, like, getting alarmed more and more, seeing, like, all those numbers go towards Trump.
And
they were
the
like,
same reaction I had in the morning, where they just woke up and they took up their phone. They said, "Fuck." And then their day is ruined.
Yeah. So, like, you know, they're like,
fucking Musk. Oh, that's the other 2016 thing. He won because of Twitter again. Again. Fuck Twitter, dude. Oh my god, it's the worst. Twitter was a huge component as to why he won in 2016 because of his tweets, of course. And then he gets booted off of Twitter as soon as he loses the presidency. This fucking dickhead Musk takes it over. turns it into a fucking right-wing propaganda. It's so bad now on Twitter. It's really bad, Dennis. I promise you it is. And dumps billions into his fucking campaigns and shit. Rogan endorses him now. Biggest podcast endorses him. All these last-minute things. He literally watched it with Musk. Musk was there with Trump at Mar-a-Lago watching the fucking whatchamadoodle. And it's so good for Musk that Donald Trump won, because not only was there a chance that Musk could have potentially been deported had that not been the case, even that was not the case, that Trump was going to turn on him like that. He was going to turn on Musk like that. Like, why didn't I win? You said I was going to win, Elon. You shit, I actually did that kind of good.
That was pretty well. That was actually pretty well.
You said I was going to
very
win,
breathy.
Elon. What the fuck?
Now get out of my villa.
Oh, fuck me. It's nice to hear your takes on this, truly. You know, because I already value them as a friend, but again, I value them as a historian, because you take back, I mean, you think about the fact that fucking Teddy Roosevelt hated Taft so fucking much to the point where he formed his own whole ass party just to try to dog his ass. and it didn't even work. With how popular of a candidate he was too.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
God, we need another Roosevelt. No more Trumps. No more Clintons. No more. We need another fucking. Are the Roosevelts still alive? Can we just vote? Can we just write in another Roosevelt?
It's actually a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a feeling a lot of them are probably away from politics now at this point. They're probably like, it's like, hey, like, I'll be your spokesperson at your rally, whatever, and I'll mention my great-grandpa, because, he's obviously better than all of you. Like, he's, even dead, he's still better than all of you. And like, but that's why, like, I was going off before and talking about, like, how I really do think this country is ready for a female president. And,
please,
like, it's, for one, because guys like Trump are now, like, before around in 2016, he was like the maverick, right? He was like the, he wasn't no career politician. He wasn't like wearing suits with humongous shoulder pads. He didn't have no robotic voice like thing. He was different. And like, it's like I guess the most general term, obviously, that like we have for what he was around that time in 2016. He was different. He was very
anti-establishment is what they called him. That's why people liked him. He was different. No more Democrats. We had 8 years of a Democrat. And my life sucks, so it's obviously the president's fault, no matter which side of the aisle it's on. When you look back in 2016, it makes sense why he won. I get it. People wanted to try something new. Yeah. As unconventional as he was, his rhetoric was already one thing, attracted a certain type of people, repulsed another, but got a lot of eyes on him. The media glorified him up and everything. 2016
Twitter
makes sense
like
why he won.
Yeah, worked Twitter like a puppet master like no other. And
I really thought this time was different because we knew what he was. But I think now a lot of people, like myself even, are like kind of less scared despite the shit that this guy said he was going to do, because we did go through 4 years of this guy.
We lived.
And we survived.
Yeah. Like, somehow. I mean, amidst like a lot of the obviously like shit that he had done like over those 4 years.
Maybe I'm coping. I don't know. Maybe it'll be way worse. But
that's the thing. Like, for sure, like we don't know anything yet, because again, like, this fucking presidency hasn't even started yet. Like it's just one of those things where like we just have to wait and pan out to see how it all kind of unfolds, because there is a lot of stuff that he could obviously roll back. There is a lot of stuff that like just constitution wise like he could change. Like he could tell his buddies at the Supreme Court like, hey, I kind of want to get this changed, do like some I don't know phony vote on it and whatever, and just like obviously like just get it done, and working it like a mob boss, really, like if you really think about it. And so that's also why I think, because he's now the norm again. He's already been established. No, here's the thing. He's already been like almost a new form of like, I guess, establishment, if that makes sense. I think the platform,
the die hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
But that's why I'm saying though, like he's gotten. I feel as if like not that I'm saying his luck has run out, but I honestly feel like, these last 4 years, I really do think he's going to maybe try something pretty kind of drastic. Like, I'm not going to exactly say like what it is. I'm just saying going off of that feeling. I really do feel like, because he probably knows that like, okay, like I don't got another term after this. So it's just like, I'm going to go fuck shit wild and like kind of just like,
you know that.
Hold on. Like, and, we've seen his shenanigans even outside of his presidency, like, after Joe won and like, obviously like Joe was obviously in office, like during those 4 years, like we still heard about a lot of the stuff that, he's done and like, just the whole trials that he has, the indictments and all of that. But I think that is going to eventually become the same thing that people, it'll be another form of like the establishment that we kind of grew tired of, because this is, believe it or not, like it kind of goes without saying, like for the last couple of years, this is like United States politics now. Like that is like kind of just the general playing field that like everyone is kind of living on now. And people get tired, like even the people who like, and this is kind of going more towards like the people who were very much like, moderates, probably even maybe less than me, but like they were still moderates and like they kind of really like had maybe little to no desire to vote. But like, some people, like that's the thing though too, like when it comes to voting, it's a very like feeling based thing. Like I know obviously like, we talked about it before like a while back that, if you vote, you got to be informed. Like, obviously you got to like, make that decision, and it's a big one, like obviously like it goes without saying, making that decision like on a very informed sort of basis. But the reality is that like it's very much true that like when people go to those polls, they vote because like they have a very strong feeling towards one side or the other, whether that be vitriol or for support, or like or for like they resonate for what that side is like, let's say, fighting for. Like that is what a lot of them are going to be going to those polls for. It's no one's going, well, not no one, but like a lot of people are not fucking leaving their 9 to 6 job to like go and stand online for 3 hours because like they give a fuck about like Israel or Gaza. It's not for big issues like that. A lot of times it's really just for how is this fucker, male or female, gonna like make my life better. And it's like, and it could, again, it'd be like it's one of the, like the bigger ones in my opinion, but like I think there's obviously like a whole variety of reasons like why people like would go there, for like reasons such as like pertaining to that. And I guarantee you a lot of people did not go to those polls thinking that, oh, he or she is going to have is going to bring a swift end to Ukraine or to Israel and Gaza. It's not the fucking case. If anything,
Zelensky
people
congratulated him. Zelensky congratulated him.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Might have done it because he had to save face or whatever, but
who knows? Whatever. Like again, like but that's why I'm saying though, like as far as like that whole thing goes, it's like we're not voting because of like some crazy larger issue. A lot of people vote because of issues that are affecting them right now, currently, and whether that be like, oh, I'm paying way too many fucking taxes or X and Y other fucking reason. It's for those reasons that they're going to those polls. It's not for like the big geopolitical fucking reason. Even though it was somewhat a bit like, it was a bit different like like a good century ago, because, World War II was going on and like, they gave a fucker like the first third term ever. So
I think that's what caught me off guard about this election. Because I thought most people were going because of identity politics or geopolitical reasons. Like, I really don't like Trump. I want to get him out. And that's why there were so many people here.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think most voters or just most Americans in general, regardless if they vote or not, was that blue shirt guy I met in the Best Buy. They're the actual majority, but we're all so terminally online now that we just lose sight of that.
Yep.
You were right the whole time, Dennis. I should have listened.
Hey, man, like, look, there's always next election.
That's what I'm hoping for.
But that's why I'm also saying that, like, you know, I feel maybe it is AOC. I don't know. Because, like, I wanted to say that maybe she is basically the next one. Like, she may be the next sacrificial lamb. Maybe Kamala will try to run again in the next 4 years. Like, who knows, right? Because I could see her run again. I really can. Because even though she is, like, a bit on the older side, she hasn't reached, like, fucking Bill Clinton's age where, like, the dude looks like a shambling corpse. Like, so
she's younger than Hillary, right? Like, way younger than Hillary. How old is Hillary? Because Hillary chose not to run again, and I don't remember how old she was.
77.
Yeah, that's like a good 17 years, I guess.
Yeah, Kamala's at 60, which,
yeah,
you know,
4 years she'll be 64.
She looked great for fucking 60.
Dude, I wanted to jack off to the President of the United States so bad. Dude, I've seen, like, photos of... Dude... Like there's like we cannot beat around the bush. Like, she's hot. Like, she's just straight up hot.
I think arguably the hottest
mommy
candidate we've ever had. Just like,
easily.
Yeah. Objectively.
A pretty low bar because most of them are men. But like,
and then we only had one other one to compare her to, and
it was fucking Hillary.
Yeah, she was ancient.
Like, the hear me outs you see on Twitter about Kamala are exquisite. Yeah, let me see if I can find that post right now, actually. Well, actually, you wouldn't be able to see it. Never mind. But yeah, I guess to conclude my thoughts here, as far as what you said about, hey, there's always next election, I'd like to repeat what I said at the beginning of the podcast. That is my only real fear. Things Trump changes, I believe, can always be, you know, reversed or some ways. I have faith in America, or I want to have faith in America and in our system of checks and balances and whatnot. But for me, I'll be quick, don't worry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My only thing is I want to not think about the president every day. Like we did in 2016 onwards, where everything this fucker did, like, you know, was on media front page, and we were so... It's hard to describe for you people just getting into politics now, but, like, you could not escape this prick. He was everywhere you turned, on the TV and on the internet and everywhere, and I was just fucking sick of it by the end. Like, I was sick of COVID. It was a parasite, just like that fucking virus. And for me, it's like, I don't even just want to retain that sense of normalcy, but what I want is, I want this to just be 4 years of Trump. Or maybe he's even too old or, like, too, like, cognitively dissonant to even get anything done, which I'm fucking down with too. That's also a real possibility. And in 4 years... even if he refuses to leave or not, if the fucking National Guard has to come in and drag his ass out, or, like, whatever has happened, like, yeah, I want to stay, like, I just want the 4 years to go by and for us to move on to whoever the next person is, Democrat, Republican, or whoever, and that's it. My only real fear with Trump's presidency is if he somehow succeeds in slowly but surely instilling himself as an authoritarianistic dictator, which he wants to be. Because we all deserve better than that. Even the people who didn't vote for him, we deserve way better than that. You can vote for Trump, you can like him. I think it's bullshit that you call it patriotism, but it's part of how that got hijacked. But point is, I'm saying, I think the next 4 years would suck personally as somebody who doesn't like him, and somebody who I think could strip away rights. But regardless if you like him or not, the system we have in place is good. At least I want him to believe it's good, in that in 4 years, he's done. We move on to the next person because we knew somebody like him was going to rise to power one day, and that's why we needed term limits. And that is why George Washington just fucked off back to his house instead of making himself the king that even everybody wanted him to be at the time, because he had the foresight. That was divine intervention on his part back in the day. He didn't do that shit for no reason. So you get what I'm saying, right, Dennis? I just want to go. That's my only wish. Regardless of what he's going to do in his presidency, I just want his presidency to last 4 years. And then he serves his second term, and then we move on. That is my biggest concern with him. That's it, really. And I know that regardless of the power that him and his party has in the office now, or in the offices, both in the, you know, legislative, executive, and the judicial, that people are going to be fighting tooth and nail. I know that nothing's going to go easy. You know, I don't want to believe that this guy is going to do literally whatever the fuck he wants at any given time, and the world's just going to fucking watch. I don't want to be that cynical. I spend time on Reddit, but I only do it accidentally when I'm looking for porn. Okay, so
and
don't want to go that far doomer to the point where like I'm cycling like that. You know what I mean? But that's my piece. That's my conclusion here.
And another part of it is also too with talking now to the Republican Party and all the guys over there that don't like this guy. These next 4 years. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, grow some fucking balls. Because these next 4 years, if any of you motherfuckers... I mean, I think most of these guys probably don't want to be president. But if any of you motherfuckers want to be president, you got two choices, essentially. Your first choice is to kind of just be another carbon copy of this guy. Go off the fucking rails, say some racist shit on Twitter. Just be on social media all the time. That's the key to being Trump, in my opinion. There's just it's so uncomplicated, to be just another version of him. But the other route, and this will, I think, kind of go hand in hand as to how maybe the elections may go for the next one, for the Dems especially. If you you apparently, they had bipartisan support to go and get rid of him. And if anything, a lot of Republicans even came out publicly and said hey, I think Kamala's pretty cool and I think y'all should vote for her. Just literally almost turning on their party almost, and kind of just going past the fence,
I wonder how many of them are going to turn tail again and be like, nah, I love Trump again.
Oh yeah, of course. There's plenty of that happens all the time, because it's obviously it's just the political expediency of it all. Because they don't want to lose their position. They want to get reelected. So, but the thing was that I think at the atmosphere at the time they thought okay, maybe the era of Trump era politics is finally kind of over. We were wrong. It's not. We have 4 more years of it, and we're gonna see obviously how it goes in the next 4 years. But my other point is that everything comes to an end too. Even him, even for Trump and his sort of era of politics, it all comes to an end eventually. And, everything ends. And I think it probably won't be as dramatic as maybe I'm making it sound to be. But I think his fall of his era of politics thing is coming. And I think it's probably coming after this one, truthfully. Because I even feel the Republicans could probably maybe even have a guy like Trump, but maybe he's just not as crazy. And people will still like him regardless. I think it's just that, the way things have been for the last couple of years have just been one extreme to another. And, I don't think Kamala was extreme by any means. She was probably one of the most, centrist fucking Democrats I've ever seen in my life, and maybe to a certain point, maybe that's the reason why that she couldn't get that voter turnout, because she just wasn't extreme enough. People
Bernie
love
won, and Bernie, the Democrats knew that, and that's why they dogged his ass. That's why they fucking got rid of him. But
they also didn't like him either, and he's just not part of that system.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah. So I guess my point in all of this is that, his era of politics is going to come to an end. Sooner maybe than later, who knows? But I think, honestly, it's coming. And, it's, I think, also a form of politics that I even feel people who are, tuned in politically are also tired of, truthfully. I can't imagine that you'd want, up to this point now, even during Biden's era, it's still, his term, even during his term, it was still Trump era politics. That did not change even after he got knocked out of the office.
I'm convinced there are certain people at CNN that wanted him to win just because of how entertaining the guy is.
Oh yeah, of course.
He's good for ratings.
I'm gonna make money. Yeah. This guy's a moneymaker, of course.
He doesn't match the politics of our fucking newsroom, but we don't care because he's so
that
good
controversy
because people get, exactly
that controversy he generates makes us so much fucking money. And it's the reason why that
Trump
that
said
like
this.
Yeah.
I got,
obviously
I gotta
like
turn on CNN.
they like turn up they change the little the heading and stuff, and so it's like, gotta make it all clickbaity and shit, and like, Trump said this, what, he dissed like Mexico's president, insane, and then obviously like the clicks come rolling in, and it's gonna be a great day for Newsroom for fucking sure for the next like 4 years. And
we didn't even mention his fucking felony counts, like the rape
his
shit.
indictments,
His indictments and every fuck me, man. I don't want to see no fucking have you been convicted of a felony forms on any fucking job applications for the next 4 years. I do not want to see that shit. 'Cause if this motherfucker is allowed to be elected to the highest office in the land after 30 fucking 4 felony counts, and I can't work at fucking Wendy's
because I don't know, shoplifted that one time.
Yeah. Because I stole a loaf of bread. Like, I'm not...
For my family.
Go fuck and kill yourself. Like, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that, for sure. Yep.
Well, but before you fucking kill yourself, you're going to want to stay tuned for next week for the 200th episode of the Double D Experience. That's real. 200.
200.
What are we doing with our lives? Fucking enjoying it. Sort of.
Should play
sometimes.
Mario Party. We should play Mario Party Bonanza. Jamboree. I was gonna say Bonanza. Bonanza.
I wish they called it Bonanza. That would have been way funnier.
Super Mario Party Bonanza. You can't even say that. Like
as
Mario would.
I guess to conclude here, as long as men die, liberty shall never perish. Which is why I love the plot of Team Fortress 2 so much. Because you have like these two pretty much oil tycoons who build like life-extending machines in like the early 1900s, and so there's just like they just cause a never-ending war between each other that literally never ends. Just a really fucked up idea. Like, hey, what if men didn't die? See how fucked everything would be? There you go.
Also, maybe Kamala, this is all jokes, okay? But
what are you doing later?
I don't know. I was gonna say maybe
she's gonna be like my husband. Oh, lucky man.
It's gonna be a pity fuck too. It's gonna be like, oh,
yeah,
they're almost president. Maybe Kamala. Maybe next 4 years you gotta get like that butt lift or something. I don't know. You gotta get those fucking like those terminally online motherfuckers like actually out of their house and scratch the Cheeto dust off their chest and actually get them out there. Like, you gotta appeal to them. You gotta do a cosplay.
This is what I'm saying. Like, she may have lost the presidency because of misogyny, potentially. I do think the fact that she was a woman was part of it. Not the entire thing, of course, but definitely part of it again.
Yeah.
Real shit. If she started an OnlyFans, would she have won?
Yeah.
Like, if she started a free OnlyFans, do you think I'm being completely serious?
I really think so. Even if it was $10, people would have still paid for it. That would have paid for the campaign. Truthfully.
The worst part is that people would shit on her for it because they would say a political candidate
Oh yeah, absolutely,
did this.
They would shit on her.
It was so inappropriate, but again, the polls don't matter, the media doesn't matter. I guess the rally audience size doesn't matter. All that matters is the turnout.
She could have literally
just
made that
would have
thing.
increased the turnout.
She could have just made it and not posted anything. She could have posted her and her fucking dog, and people would have they fucking paid for it. I'm not even kidding about that.
But they would have paid for it because then they would have thought it was nudes, but then it wasn't.
Yeah, but there was even an experiment that one YouTuber that I know did where it was just him doing really fucking stupid ass sexy calendar fucking shoots, and it's just the fucking thing got 450,000 over one night.
I mean, Kamala, if Markiplier could show his ass,
Come on, Kamala. Let's see that granny booty. Just
some gilfs are fire, man.
No, that's why I'm saying, bro.
And her sister's even hot. Her sister's even hotter than she is. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I know.
And her sister's also fucking late 50s.
She in politics too?
No. But she just looked ridiculously good, man.
Damn.
We are done. next week for DDE 200. Be there or be square. Like, comment, subscribe. YouTube.com/Nintoonist. Comment how you're feeling about the election. If you're having election anxiety, don't be afraid to reak out. Don't be afraid to just get smelly. Don't
take a shower for 3 weeks.
Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Please take care of yourselves and grant yourselves the serenity to accept the things you can't change and the ability to change the things that you can. That's what I've been doing all day. I've just been disassociating pretty much all day, and to the point where it's kind of unhealthy, truly. But this helped distract me for a good long while. Life's not so scary when you have a best friend.
Who's that?
My balls. Always there for me.
It's a good pair of friends.
Always hanging around.
Swaying back and forth sometimes.
Spotify, 5-star review. Apple Podcasts if you listen on iPhones. We love y'all. Be good to yourselves and to each other, please. We'll get through this.
Yep.
And if you like Trump, congratulations, I guess. There you go.
Yeah.
And,
if you like Kamala, I guess, boo-hoo, loser.
And to pretty much all of you listening, regardless of your identity politics, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
Go back to Reddit.
Yep.
I'll be there, jacking off to my specific subreddits for my niche porn stars.
I will go and search for AI-generated Kamala porn.
That's kind of fucked up.
Man of culture. But, bro, they were all there. For the last, 10 months, they were all there.
I know, but,
It's fucked. It is fucked. But that's why I'm going to fuck it.
We love y'all. I'm gonna go cry. I'll talk to you later.